So between you and dinner, it's only a couple of additional words from Fabrizio, Gianfrate, and myself. I hand over to you first, and then I have a couple of closing words. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Well, it has been a very interesting discussion. I didn't sleep, so that means we talk about something interesting. So it is the 9th convention I attend, so I attended also the previous 8, and I never slept. A couple of considerations. We discussed about two main interesting points. One was the interface with the other regulations coming into the competitive arena from the institutions, especially the EU pharma legislation. But we have heard from the parliament member about several aspects to be considered, the central procurement, the other changes in the environment of pharmaceuticals. So what is important is, as we are used to say in Italy, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is saying, is doing. So it has to be coordinated, the different regulations from different departments or the decision makers, the legislators. This is important because otherwise the bill is paid by stakeholders, because there is an increasing charge of activities. I take the words from James about the number of pages requested. This is a workload not making the final result easier to achieve. That means the final result, which is the patient access, as we already mentioned many times, as a common goal in our job, is delayed, is broken, is not favored by the legislation. So the first message is, okay, new legislation for improving the different part of the process, procurement, tendering, pharma legislation, data protection, and so on, to be integrated with the European Health Technology Assessment to have a final synergistic effect. This is my first consideration. The second consideration about the second point we have touched today, meaning the revision in the next months, years. We have heard about the different suggestions, opinions, and even criticism from the stakeholders. Same considerations. It seems that the two arguments we have discussed today, the integration of the legislation and the revision, apparently at the first glance seems to be independent, not linked one with the other. In the end, they converge with the same objective. So to have an integrated system, making not easier but more efficient the system. Again, sharing and having a common scope, which is the scope of the EU regulation, the health technology centralized regulation, which means the patient access, the balance and the equity in the access, and the possibility more patients and in a faster time can be treated with the new treatments, new products, new drugs. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabrizio. I don't repeat anything what has been said already. Just one comment. As you have attended, I also have, of course, attended 9 EAA conventions so far. And I have to say, my impression is we get to a direction over time. So if I compare the discussion today with the discussion we had 4.5 years ago at university in Copenhagen, we get to a direction. The whole thing is, let's say, moving. We are stepping ahead. There's still a lot to do, but I appreciate the direction, how should I say. The bottom line is, I think we have to overcome European multiplicity. The plethora of European opinions, of, let's say, European PICO schemes, of European comparators, we have to align in order to have a global voice. That's one very strong point. And the other point, we don't want, now I'm sorry, I'm political, we don't want a EU HTA king somewhere. We don't want this one. We want to have a scientific, sound consolidation of our federal opinions to the best of evidence-based medicine, to the best of patients in the end, and to the best of the healthcare system, which has limited funds. So I think, and that's the direction we should take, and I think we can jointly take, and this is a common voice, and if we find such a common voice, that's much stronger than the kings that we have, that we all experience. So that's my point. The other very important point is, let's say, we need to have the societal discussion. HTA is complicated, as the term says. It's a technology assessment, and the risk of HTA is 20,000 pages that nobody can understand. We need AI to interpret. In the end, having a lot of experience in the German environment, the 30 pages by the clinical society are as informative as the 3,000 pages or 5,000 or 10,000 pages from the company, as well as the extensive reports. And we need to slim it down to a meaningful volume, the whole thing. High quality, good for decision making, but slim and no bureaucratic monster. That's a little bit the framework. With this one, we are at the end of today, and let me just extend a warm thank you to the moderators, to Antonella, to Robin, to Mark, and of course to Ristif Inami, to Francis for hosting us. Perhaps a big applause. Thanks very much to all the speakers. Thanks very much to all the speakers. Of course, I will do this in a second, or I hand over to Elaine in a second. And the last thing what I wanted to say, and this fits perfect, thanks for the technology to the one side, perhaps a big applause. And the big applause to Elaine. Elaine, we do tomorrow, but perhaps you can take over and close this one and comment.